and good afternoon. It's a pleasure to be here today at the Gurtler Bros VFW Post 420 right here in Saratoga Springs. I'm pleased to be joined by VFW Commander Harold Patchen, Quartermaster and past State Commander Gene Ritigliano. We have New York State Commander Hoig here today, Saratoga County Veterans Director Frank McClement, Columbia County Veterans Director, Command Sergeant Major Gary Flaherty, my 2019 inductee into the New York State Senate Veterans Hall of Fame, Keith Koster, so many of my veterans friends, and our leader of the Senate Republican Conference, Senator Rob Ortt. We're gathered here today for one reason, and that's to support our New York veterans. I'm a proud member of the Senate Committee on Veterans, Homeland Security, and Military Affairs. Statewide, there are countless veterans service organizations such as VFWs and American Legions. My 43rd Senate District is home to 42 VFWs and American Legions combined. We have an excellent military museum here in Saratoga Springs, and even an active Navy support activity base that helps thousands of active duty and reserve sailors. Our great military and heroic veterans mean so much to me and to our Republican conference, led by Senator Ortt, who is a combat veteran himself. What better way is there to thank our veterans for the sacrifices they've made than to give back to them? And so that's what this bill is about. It's my distinct honor to announce the introduction of my new bill, Senate Bill 8504, the Veterans Service Organizations COVID-19 Relief Act. Veterans services organizations are important social gathering places and program providers for those who have heroically served our country and their families. Just like here at VFW Post 420, veteran service organizations were founded on helping those veterans in need. These organizations help veterans access programs from the Federal Department of Veteran Affairs, provide community programs, offer information about state and local programs, and offer a wide array of programs including substance abuse counseling and job training. VSOs have become a critical part of our societal framework for helping veterans and offering them a space to fraternize with those who best understand the sacrifices that they've made. In the past 2 years, our veteran service organizations have faced a lot of financial hardship, and that's because of the COVID-19 pandemic. Many, including some here in the capital region, aren't the hubs of activity that they once were pre-COVID. The many events that VSOs rely on to generate revenue, such as fundraisers, bingos and other games, breakfasts, banquet halls, renting them, among others, were all canceled, left many local posts and chapters without the key income they rely on for their budgets. The Veteran Service Organization's COVID-19 Relief Act would provide a critical lifeline for our VFWs and American Legions. So this proposal would establish a $10 million fund under the Empire State Development Corporation to provide grants of up to $50,000. To qualify for a grant, the VSO would have had to experience a 40% or greater loss of gross revenue during the year 2020 or 2021 tax year as compared to the 2019 tax year. These grants are specifically to be used for the following types of expenses of the VSO: rent, utilities, scheduled mortgage payments, scheduled debt payments, or other ordinary and necessary business expenses such as maintenance costs, administrative costs, state and local taxes and fees, operating leases, and insurance payments. These organizations are essential to veterans of all ages. They need our help. Let's give it to them now. This really isn't about politics. It's about doing what's right. Let's support our veterans today. And now I'd like to introduce Senate Republican leader Rob Ortt, who is a military hero, just like the hero standing beside me that I want to thank with all my heart. Thank you for your service. Senator Ortt, let me just tell you a little about our leader. In October 2001, Senator Ortt enlisted in the New York Army National Guard in response to the September 11th attacks. He served in the war in Afghanistan, where his mission was to serve as a combat mentor advisor to the Afghan National Police in Kandahar City, which is the second largest city in Afghanistan. And so, Leader Ortt.
Thank you very much, Senator Jordan. Thanks for having me. Well, first of all, I want to dispel one thing. I much like I know these men behind me, I do not consider myself a hero, a patriot, sure, someone who was happy to serve, but as we always say, the heroes are the ones who didn't come back. And I know that that is how every member who is here, the veterans, feel. But I want to thank Senator Jordan for that introduction. I want to thank her for having me here today. I want to thank our hosts, Commander Harold Patchen, for your service and for having us, and all the veterans who are here, who showed up today, by the way. And I want to thank Senator Jordan for introducing this bill and for her ongoing and continued support and commitment to those who have served and fought for this country. You know, there's a lot of lip service that gets paid by elected officials supporting veterans. And there's lots of ways you can do that, no doubt about it. But Senator Jordan backs that up with actions, whether it's her commitment, her votes as a member of our conference on the Veterans and Military Affairs Committee in the Senate, whether it's the introduction of this bill today, or whether it's her support of the Joseph P. Dwyer program and the expansion of that program. And I know that program is doing wonders in her district to prevent suicides amongst our veterans who, according to the VA, take their lives at 22 a day. I mean, you think about that, 22 veterans a day take their lives. That's higher than the civilian suicide. And when you think about COVID, no doubt, we don't really know yet the numbers, but COVID, I firmly believe, will make that worse, will make suicide worse because of isolation, depression, all these things that we all are familiar with now and are aware of. But amongst that veteran community, I believe it will be more acute. And we will need organizations. We will need the Joseph P. Dwyer program, but we also will need organizations like the VFW, like the American Legion, because they're the antidote to veteran isolation. They're bringing veterans together. They're the original peer-to-peer counselors. And these organizations, for the better part of 70, 75 years, have looked out for, advocated, and taken care of our veterans, regardless of branch, regardless of conflict. And Senator Jordan understands that as much as anybody, and that's why she's introduced this bill. We have a $10 billion surplus here in the state of New York, mostly courtesy of one-time revenues from the federal government. But the fact is, we need to make sure that these organizations are here for the next generation of veterans. Not just my generation, OIF, OEF, but the next generation. And if you don't think there's going to be another generation of combat veterans, just turn on the news tonight. It's a more dangerous world today than maybe at any point, or maybe it's just as dangerous. Maybe we like to remind ourselves, to think that, you know, it becomes less dangerous. But I'll tell you what, were it not for some of the men who are behind me here today, it would be a very dangerous world indeed. When we talk about American power, American prestige, American security abroad, that's not some esoteric thing. It looks like these men right here. That's what it looks like. And I want to thank Senator Jordan for her continued support of our veterans, for introducing this bill. I really believe that some of our colleagues across the aisle would support this bill. There's no reason that they shouldn't. I know Senator Jordan has worked with people like Senator Brooks, other people from the Democratic Conference on veterans issues, when we've had Joseph P. Dwyer programs. Every year when the Governor Cuomo was the governor, he would take out the Joseph P. Dwyer program. He would make it zero, knowing the legislature would have to fight to put it back in. Senator Jordan led that charge every time. So, you know, while I'm a veteran and I served, and that's something that I'm very proud of, and it influences and drives my service as an elected official, there's other ways to serve and give back to our veterans. And Senator Jordan, I think, is proof positive and a perfect example of how to do that as an elected official. You don't have to have worn a uniform to appreciate and understand and work to support our veterans. And she does that very, very well. And I'm proud to call her a colleague. As a veteran, I'm proud of the work she's doing for veterans, and I'm proud to support this bill here today. And with that, I'd like to call her back up to the podium.
Well, thank you. All right, next up, I'd like to introduce VF Post 420 Commander Harold Patchen. I want to thank you for your past service, your present service over, I think you told me, 51 years here at the VFW, and for allowing us to host the press conference here today.
Thank you. Thank you for sponsoring this bill, Senator. We appreciate it. I know that not just the VFW, but all veterans organizations, COVID hit us pretty hard. Hit our membership hard, hit our funding hard. Without having the membership, we can't get out, we can't do the things we like to do, can't bring the funding in that we would like, and sounds to me like this bill is going to really help us out. And I just want to thank you and thank everybody here, and Senator Ortt, I appreciate you, Senator Jordan, and all the members here from, we got the Korean War vets, the American Legion, VFW, ITAM, I think that's it, Purple Heart, everybody. Thank you.
And next, I'd like to introduce a good friend of mine, Saratoga County Veterans Director Frank McClement, who is also the director for the Saratoga County Dwyer peer-to-peer program. And that was one of the first Dwyer programs in the state.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Senator Jordan and Senator Ortt, for sponsoring this legislation. I'm very fortunate to work in veteran services and serving my fellow veterans. And I will tell you, in doing that work and being on the ground and trying to assist as many veterans as we can at the county level, and my counterpart Gary Flaherty in Columbia County would attest to this, we rely on the American Legion, the VFW, and the other service organizations to help us get the word out, to connect us to the veterans and the families that are in need and need our services. And without them and without their support of our programs, without their support of our events, we wouldn't be as effective in our work if we didn't have their support and we didn't have partnerships with them. I've been very lucky to work in close concert with all of these individuals behind me over the years, and I can honestly say that we're more effective because of their presence. The other point I'd like to make about these organizations are, they are the fabric of our community. Gary mentioned earlier today, these gentlemen and ladies continue to serve every day. The American Legion, the VFW, they sponsor programs for children and youth. They work with the school districts. They work with the Little Leagues. They work with bowling leagues. They are active in assisting the elderly. They volunteer for soup kitchens. They host food drives. They adopt families at Christmas time. If they are not able to continue those programs, our communities will be negatively affected, and that's a fact. So I thank Senator Jordan, I thank Senator Ortt for paying attention to what has happened to these individuals and what has happened to these organizations, because without some assistance, they'll have to divert that to their most basic necessity of cost and just keeping the doors open. And we'd like them to continue to do what they do best, and that's serve our communities. Thank you.
And next, we have Command Sergeant Major Gary Flaherty, who is the Columbia County Veterans Services Director and also leads their Dwyer peer-to-peer program.
Thank you, Senator. Good afternoon, everybody. Very quickly, I'd like to endorse what Frank said. In Columbia County, the support we get for the PFC Dwyer program is shown every day. Last year, I tracked it and directly was able to identify at least 3 veterans that we saved from committing suicide. And without that, and the support we get from other veterans organizations, we would have more of that. And I give it all, and I thank the 2 of you. This is a great bill, and we totally support it across the board with our veterans. Thank you.
Well, thank you, everybody. And now, if there's any questions pertaining to on topic, I'm happy to answer with Senator Ortt.
Do you actually have any Democratic support that you know of?
The bill was just introduced yesterday, and I haven't had a chance to contact my legislative director. We sent a memo all around. I know that there were some co-sponsors that were trying to jump on yesterday. I'm not sure who's all there at this point in time.
You've had some bipartisanship when it comes to these.
I would say that on our Veterans Committee, it is totally bipartisanship. There is no one on that committee that would not support this bill. I'm positive of that. So, you know, I'm guessing that there will be good bipartisan support on it, and I'm hoping that we can usher it through. Because this depends on an allocation of $10 million to get the fund started, I'm also sending a letter to the governor today regarding the bill and what it does, and also to the Senate, the majority leader in the Senate, as well as our leader, Rob Wirt, who already knows all about it. So, you know, it would be great to be able to get this appropriation in the budget this year so that it can help. So we'll do what we can. And of course, the louder all our voices are, the more chance there are that would happen.
We can be loud.
Do it. Anybody else? All right, great. Thank you all for coming.